is coverage you can count on. WGAL News 8 at noon starts now.
Good afternoon. I'm Susan Shapiro. A double shooting this morning in Mountjoy, Lancaster County, and an incident in Reed Township, Dauphin County are being linked. News 8 has live team coverage. We begin with News 8's Sarah Metz in Mountjoy.
Yeah, this is where police say 2 people were shot early this morning. We're actually at the Sassafras Terrace apartments off of East Main Street, and crews still currently have the whole complex completely blocked off to the public. But I do want to show you some video from earlier when our crews first got to the scene. The Mountjoy Borough Police Chief says they were called out to the scene around 4:15 this morning. We're told both victims were shot and taken to the hospital. We know state police have since taken over this investigation, and we have been watching them go in and out of the complex for hours. Now, one woman who lives here says she heard those gunshots. It actually woke up her and her children.
I was in bed and I heard like a popping or a loud banging sound, and I jumped up and then it stopped. And then the next thing I know, there's a whole bunch of cops here and stuff. So it was pretty scary.
Yeah, we're still working to find out how the 2 people taken to the hospital are doing right now. Be sure to stay with WGAL both online and on air as we continue to learn more. In Lancaster County, Sarah Metz, WGAL News 8.
That scene in Mountjoy is linked to the closure of Route 147 in Dauphin County. News 8's Tom Lehman joins us live from Reed Township with what he's seeing there.
Yeah, very little info has been released about what is going on at this point. We did just see a vehicle from the coroner's office leaving the scene here in Reed Township. But again, police have this road blocked off right now. There's a scene further down the road from where I'm standing right now that you're not able to see because of how far back we're being kept from what's going on. We're right by the Clarks Ferry Bridge, for those wondering where exactly we are. Again, crime scene tape further down the road. It's unclear at this point whether any injuries or fatalities are involved, but like I just mentioned, we did see a vehicle from the coroner's office leaving the scene. Now, the road was closed off early this morning amid an investigation of the circumstances of what happened. Although police haven't said much about the circumstances, a woman that was on her way to the airport early this morning told WGAL in a Zoom interview there appeared to be a vehicle at one point being pursued by police, and this vehicle was traveling the wrong way on 283 early this morning, nearly hitting her.
And as I turned my head back to my own lane, I saw headlights just directly in front of me. And I looked over, my daughter was like, oh my gosh, and I swerved and got into the into the right-hand lane. And that vehicle passed me. It appeared to be an SUV, but I'm not sure. It was really dark out. And then quickly behind that vehicle, there was I believe it was a state police officer, but I can't be sure with the lights on.
Back here in Reed Township, we're continuing to try to get more details about exactly what happened. Again, police have not said exactly what is happening in terms of an investigation down here, but we've seen multiple agencies, including some from Lancaster County here as well. State police tell me that there will be more information released later today. For now in Dauphin County, Tom Lehman, WGAL News 8.
Looking live from our Skycam network on this Friday, it looks nice out there, but there are some issues because of the dry conditions. Meteorologist Mike Susko joins us with more on the warnings out today.
Yes, Susan, we have a red flag warning in effect for the entire region here. And basically that means you do not want to be burning whatsoever because fire conditions, if a fire starts, can spread very quickly. As we pull the map up here, you'll be able to end up seeing how everyone is under this red flag warning until 6 p.m. Again, that means the sustained winds will be between 10 to 20 miles per hour, but gusts up to 30 this afternoon. But the low relative humidity and the very dry conditions are going to help that fire threat spread. You can see the current relative humidity is anywhere from 25 to 35%, and those winds sustain 10 to 20. That will continue as we go through the next 12 hours. So we have the impact day icons there until 6 o'clock. That is when that warning will expire, and then we'll see the winds calm down after midnight here. We'll drop back into the 40s overnight tonight. A dry day tomorrow, but I am tracking some rain for the weekend. It'll be the second half of the weekend. We'll have more details coming up in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Mike. Now to Commitment 2024 and the race for the U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. The Associated Press called the tight race for Republican Dave McCormick over incumbent Democrat Bob Casey. But Casey has not yet conceded. McCormick addressed the public this morning and has also filed a lawsuit over some ballots. News 8's Barbara Barr is here with more on that.
Yeah, Susan, Dave McCormick did declare victory in the Senate race in Pittsburgh today, while simultaneously filing a lawsuit challenging provisional ballots in Philadelphia. This lawsuit names the Philadelphia County Board of Elections and city commissioners. McCormick's suit seeks to set aside provisional ballots cast in Philadelphia that have deficiencies, such as lack of signatures or secrecy envelopes, so that they can be reviewed and possibly challenged. It also calls for more Republican observers during the counting process. The Board of Elections in Philadelphia currently reviewing some 15,000 to 20,000 provisional ballots. McCormick currently leads Democratic incumbent Bob Casey by more than 3,400 votes, a lead that has been growing in the past 24 hours, but it's still within a half a percentage point. That's recount territory. Senator Casey has not conceded, citing the outstanding ballots still to be counted. McCormick declared victory in Pittsburgh and also addressed the lawsuit.
If you look at all the math, and the reason the AP called the race is there's no path to Senator Casey overcoming my lead, which is more than 32,000 votes. But there are ballots that will continue to be counted, and that lawsuit is just to make sure that there is an adequate number of observers that are overseeing that counting process.
McCormick says he knows what losing a close election is like. He lost to Dr. Mehmet Oz by under 1,000 votes in the 2022 primary. He also thanked Senator Casey for his service. He says voters wanted change in this election. He would focus on the economy and the border in the Senate. He says he also spoke with President-elect Donald Trump. Barbara Barr, News 8.
And as Barb said, Democratic incumbent Bob Casey has not yet conceded the Senate race as he awaits for provisional ballots to be counted. He released a statement saying Pennsylvania is where our democratic process was born. We must allow that process to play out and ensure that every vote that is eligible to be counted will be counted. That is what Pennsylvania deserves. Secretary of State Al Schmidt says there are at least 100,000 ballots yet to be counted. They include provisional, military, overseas, and some election day votes. Schmidt's statement posted on X says in part, "We urge patience as election workers continue to do this important work, especially in contests where the margins are very close." The Associated Press has also called Republican incumbent Scott Perry the winner in the 10th U.S. House district race. He beat Democrat Janelle Stelson by just over 6,000 votes. It will be Perry's 7th term in Congress. In a statement, Perry thanked his supporters and said he's excited to help President Trump implement his America First agenda and is honored and humbled to stand with and serve the people of South Central Pennsylvania. The Democrats will retain control of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives with the final race called. Democratic incumbent Frank Burns has defeated Republican challenger Amy Bradley in the 72nd District in Cambria County. Software malfunctions in the electronic voting systems there were blamed for much of the delay. With the win, Democrats keep their 102 to 101 majority. Israel deployed rescue planes to Amsterdam to evacuate citizens following violent anti-Semitic attacks after a soccer match. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators defied a protest ban near the stadium and clashed with supporters of an Israeli team. NBC's Raf Sanchez has the latest from Tel Aviv.
The Israeli government getting ready to evacuate stranded Israelis after what it's calling a widespread anti-Semitic attack in a major European capital. Israeli soccer fans chased and assaulted in the streets of Amsterdam by a pro-Palestinian crowd. That's according to Dutch authorities. One witness telling us the attackers threw flash bombs and actually pushed people into the canals. Now, there was tension on the streets around the time that the violence erupted. Some of those Israeli soccer fans chanting "Death to Arabs," others ripping down Palestinian flags. More than 60 people have been arrested, according to Dutch police, and the Dutch government is taking this extremely seriously. The King of the Netherlands spoke to the President of Israel earlier today. He told him, "We failed the Jewish community of the Netherlands during World War II, and last night we failed again." Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
The Internal Revenue Service released its 2024 financial report showing the IRS collected more than $5 trillion in tax revenue and distributed $553 billion in federal tax refunds. This year's tax revenue was an increase from the fiscal year of 2023.